This summer, meet the magical mermaid at VGP Marine Kingdom from April 12th to May 31st.
Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. Supreme Court's vacation bench today expressed reluctance to interfere in the middle of the election process and adjourned an application which sought directions to the Election Commission of India to publish booth-wise absolute number of voter turnout and also upload the Form 17C record of votes polled. Now, a bench of justices, S.T. Sharma and Dipankar Datta, they actually said that a hands-off approach has to be taken by the court and there cannot be interruptions in the process. Now, what happens to the data manipulation, if at all it is happening? Because the counsel for the Election Commission of India, Maninder Singh, said, and he kept on insisting that this entire application is based on a false allegation, it is based on suspicions. So, how does one read this aspect of the court where they have said that now this case is not dismissed, but it is adjourned for after the vacation? Probably it will be taken up by another court. And people were expecting that there could be some kind of an order today which would give relief to the voters, to the citizens who were having questions on their minds about the data manipulation. Joining me now is a very special guest, Arun Agrawal, who is a veteran lawyer, and he was a petitioner in the EVM VVPAT case, whose judgment came just on 26th of April. Thank you so much, Mr. Agrawal, for joining on the Federal. It's wonderful to have you on the program, and especially on a day when a lot of people are disappointed, and but there are people also who say that, interrupting this election process right in the middle wouldn't have been a very good idea. So there are both sides of views, but I would like to take your view on today on how things went about in the court. What are your first thoughts?
Thank you for having me. My first thought is that never was so little asked and not given. What was asked was to give a figure from which they are taking out the percentage figure. That means the original figure is there and the percentage is a derivative of that original figure. And all that they had to give was the original figure. With the original figure, they add a denominator, which is the number of the votes, eligible votes, to take out the percentage. So you are using the actual votes polled in order to arrive at the percentage, and you are doing two further calculations after that. So you are saying we will give this figure.
So what you mean that it wasn't a very tough exercise for the Election Commission, but they have shrugged it off.
No, they have that data. You cannot take out the percentage of the poll without knowing how much votes have been cast. And what we are asking is, please give us the number of the vote cast and don't tell us the percentage. See, so little was asked from the Election Commission, and they made it into, this was literally a mole being made into a mountain hill.
Right.
It's there, the figure is there.
Right, absolutely.
And the reason that they gave was all types of that communication, mobiles are not allowed. Now, suppose there is a breakdown while the polling is going on. Does not the presiding officer have some means to communicate and tell them that please replace the machine? Number of machines are breaking down. This breaking down of the machine has itself led to a suspicion that when the Election Commission is overpaying for purchase of VVPAT by at least 200%, then why are the VVPAT machines breaking down in such large numbers? So, you see, at every stage, the suspicion grows larger and larger. The Supreme Court had a very simple discharge, that yes, if you can clear this suspicion, wrongly founded or rightly founded, by a very small concession. We had no concession at all, except ask all those people that, look, you have given us a percentage, tell us from what original figure you got it. And let the people know constituency wise. that they were
Absolutely.
doing it earlier.
Right.
We had to go to the court because what was being provided to us earlier is not being provided now. So it wasn't that we were demanding something extra.
Right. So obviously, it wasn't a tough calling on the part of the election commission. If they had wanted, they would have. But now I want to go about point wise what happened in the court today, what kind of arguments were made, because the viewers need to know as to what exactly happened and why this case was adjourned. This case was totally adjourned on technical details between a writ petition and an application, prayer A, prayer B. Now, all that is very, very complicated for a layman to understand, for a common man to understand. But I'd like to begin with the kind of premise which was taken up by the counsel of the Election Commission. Maninder Singh, who was a lawyer, he said that the application which has been filed is based on false allegations. It is based on suspicions. And he went on to say, and I'm going to underscore that line where he said that there is no room for suspicion in elections. And such attitude is causing damage to public interest by always putting a question mark on the sanctity of elections. Now, what do you make of this remark which was made by the lawyer of the Election Commission?
No, the lawyer of the commission was acting true to his brief. The client has engaged him. I'm sure he's paying him over 5 lakhs for that for whatever time period that he's spending. And he is merely repeating what is being said by the election commission on an affidavit, and he must have also had a role in settling the draft, settling this thing, objection. But the fact remains that he was unnecessarily, both the election commission and their legal representative, they were unnecessarily aggressive. They were imputing motives, and while doing so, they were also misleading, which I would like to say was virtually amounting to lying in court. They have been doing it consistently with figures. If election commission cannot give the correct figures as to number of votes which are being polled and is wrong by 50%, they said 1,000 votes are polled per booth. Actual figure is 640. They said that there are 2,000 to 3,000 constituencies per booths per parliamentary constituency. The actual figure is 1,911 or 12. Similarly, they say that to count the VVPAT votes, it will require twice the staff, whereas it is not even more than 1% of the staff which is required to count the votes. They say that it will take days to count the votes of the VVPAT. The fact is that it takes 6 to 7 hours, and they can outsource it to me and I will get it done. The fact is, at every step, they have lied on facts. And now they come and try to cover themselves up under that it is not a statutory right for the country or for the electors to know how many votes were actually cast in every constituency.
But so
give
Agrawal,
us a break.
right. But another unfortunate thing, which I followed the hearing very, very closely, and what Maninder Singh, the lawyer for the Election Commission, also said that those who are raising doubts on the data manipulation, those who are raising doubts on Election Commission, are troublemongers. He used the word troublemongers, and then he said this is a factory which is churning out false allegations. He even went to the extent of saying that, look, this is what the factory will be up to by evening. Now,
No, election commission, to use the phrase, is not a holy cow. And there are so many things that you want to protect the cow. And thank God that he didn't use the political parlance of asking us to go to some other country, as is often done. So to that extent, even his being more loyal than the king to the cause of not counting or not being transparent, even the court could not side with him and was very defensive when the opposite side lawyer said that as it is, we have been unnecessarily condemned and we are being twice condemned by now. That particular remark by Dushyant Dave could not be defended by the judge who had made those remarks. The judge has not read my review petition. He too was wrong on facts. And I am saying it with great confidence. It doesn't, it's not very easy to say that the honorable judges have been wrong on facts, and if they were wrong on facts, they came to the wrong conclusions. Whether they accept it or it is too late for the review petition to kick in, but the fact remains that they have erred, and they have erred on facts. Whether they were misled by the election commission, that is for them to decide, and they have to be this. Secondly, they did not ask the right questions. If they have asked the right questions, that how long does it take? Please give me a breakup. Why can't you count the VVPAT votes? At least that credibility would have been retained. They instead went on the electronic side of the petition, that where can it be rigged? I mean, none of us in the courts were experts of that area. And the
No, but
experts that are
the technical issues which were raised today during the argument, were they really called for?
he was linking this application of a 2019 petition
Mahua
to the
Moitra,
previous
sir.
to the previous petition which was just decided, and he was trying to say that the matter was already decided. Arey bhai, the data that you gave, the matter was the hearing was over on 16th of April. Polling took on a subsequent date. The data came on a subsequent date. How could you
Absolutely.
claim that the matter was res judicata? I mean, it just, to a law student of second year or first year, it will be very obvious that this matter cannot be res judicata. And yet they went on saying that it was res judicata. Res judicata, to explain to the lay this thing, is that a matter which is already decided cannot be re-agitated and cannot be retaken up by the court. Now, this matter which was a new matter and a new development subsequent to that order, could not be covered by that doctrine at all. So that was one point, that the whole linking of the two, that look, I got a certificate from you the other day. So that became the certificate to do more wrongs. Because you gave me a certificate, give me a certificate.
Mr. Agarwal, but had the bench wanted, they would have separated the two issues.
No,
These
they didn't.
technical complexities could have been done away with.
No,
What
no,
was the need
if
for it?
No, if the bench wanted, it would have just gone along the line. All right, this is a small data that they want. After all, we gave them the electoral bonds data on the right to information. They are not asking for the sky. They are asking for a small toffee. I am the grandfather, the grandson. Why can't I give it? It takes nothing. It is a mandate of the RTI to give that information. Not only that, it is the mandate of the electoral laws under section 93 to make that information available to any person who applies for it. Now, they are not agnostic to it. Those things have been pleaded. If they
But
wanted,
I want to understand from you that, from the point of view of the narrative, it says that, we need to strengthen the electoral process. We need to strengthen the credibility of the election process. We need to stand by the constitution, whose oath has been taken by the election commissioner, has been taken by the judges. So if today a firm stand has not been taken, what have we lost as a nation? Have we lost an opportunity today?
no, I mean, it depends. Look, it's only a suspicion. It's a right of a citizen to suspect. Every system is based on this thing of suspicion. If you are making firewalls so that your system cannot be breached and paying the IT developers millions of dollars to isolate your system from spywares, there is reason to do so. So over here, suppose, okay, we are suspecting. It is our job to suspect. You cannot equate our suspicion as being a factory or doing something mischievous or being anti-national or the next step to go to a foreign country. That you cannot equate. If that suspicion is there, it is your duty to clear that suspicion. I'm asking a simple question. Suppose the election commission goes rogue, then what happens? Then you will say, no, the constitution says that we should not interfere. Let them do whatever they like because the elections are on. It is precisely at this moment that you should be interfering because the election is on. They were providing a particular data that they are not providing. They have been increasing the votes in a creeping manner. There is this term called creeping acquisition. So this is creeping accreditations of votes that are being happening. So people are suspecting that some foul play is there. These votes, which are increasing 28,000 per constituency at an average, are being done in a selective manner so that the elections can be stolen. Now, what is wrong with this type of logic and thinking in light of what the Election Commission has been doing, which was not providing the data on time and providing the wrong data on time? As I pointed out, in very few polling booths, there are more than 1,000 votes, because the average votes cast is 623 or 625. That's the number. Everybody can commit a 3-digit number in his memory, and he can transmit it to the controlling authority, which will be, in this case, the returning officer. How long does it take? How long does it take to total that? No time. But again, it's the same SBI logic which the CGI saw through. And because CGI was CGI, he not only gave us relief under the RTI Act, he saw to it that the data was provided within time. History repeats itself. So this time they got away. I mean, had it not been for this Election Commission, it is the right approach of the court that hands off, election process are going on, we'll see about it later. So they don't like to interfere with whatever the Election Commission does.
They don't want to disturb the status
Yes,
quo.
yes. This has been the approach. But this Election Commission is different from other election commissions. This is the only election commission which is being approached by the fellow bureaucrats. It is also being criticized by the ex-election commissioners. Meetings are held at a conference in Bangalore of 120 organizations. So Election Commission should be aware that there is a lack of confidence throughout the country, and they cannot count on the goodwill earned by their predecessors for last 20, 30 years from session onwards. Why go back? Go back even to the first elections where people introduced the symbols, because 80% of our population was illiterate at that point of time. So election commissions have done a sterling job, and throughout this thing, their credibility has not been questioned. Their intentions have not been questioned. Come down right up to 2016-17. After that, with this VVPAD, entire perception, you have spent 5,000 crores on the VVPAD.
Machines.
I tell you, there is a suggestion in the previous judgment that Election Commission should explore the possibility of counting the VVPAD through paper counting machine, and also through that what mark that is there, through that was not possible. I went to the market and I found that there are machines which are available. I made a bundle exactly of the same size of the election VVPAD slip, which is 9.9 centimeters by 5.6 centimeters. I ordered a roll. It's the same thing as the size of the credit card. And I counted those with that counting machine. Like when you count a bundle of 100, sometimes you will get 99, sometimes you will get 100. It happens when you see the note counting machine. So it's called bundle counting machine. Same situation. About 7-8 counts I took. 2 of them were 99 and the rest of them were 100. That machine is available for 25,000. One machine will be sufficient for one legislative assembly. If you purchase for the entire country, the total expenditure is something like 10 crores or so. You have spent 5,000 crores. Why can't you count it through that? Even manual counting, they say it takes 1 hour. It took only 20 minutes. So when you do things like this, that you introduce a VVPAD machine, you have the paper vote, and then you say ki main nahi ginunga, that arouses the suspicion of the public.
No, but if you've heard the hearing carefully, Mr. Agarwal, and I'm sure you have, Mr.
Hmm.
Dave did point out that EC should put out the voter turnout percentage, and then to which Justice Datta asked that if there is a provision like that, if there is a statute, are you statutorily obliged to do this? So Election Commission says no, sir. And then Justice Datta goes on to say that now I have to say in the open court that bel mujhe maar, that you come and hit me. That's what he said.
What you should be endeavoring is that you should be more and more transparent. Instead of that, you come and tell the court that we are not obliged, there is no statutory right. If that is not a statutory right, then how was the right to the electoral bonds a statutory right under the RTI? So they are the only people who will decide what is a statutory right. What does section 93 of the rules say? They give a person a right to pay an amount and get the 17C.
Absolutely. Mr. Singhvi also pointed out, and he listed out this 329B, which was covered under Ashok Kumar, where he said that what is barred is the questioning of election result, not the process. He underlined this. But then also, Election Commission wanted to sidestep all these questions. The bench also didn't consider all these aspects. And then on top of this, name calling on ADR, calling them troublemongers, calling them a factory. And then Mr. Dushyant Dave did intervene and said that ADR is a credible organization which has highlighted so many criminal records of politicians. Now, what are we left with? I mean, what are the citizens left with in their hand? Because now the elections will be over. Tomorrow is the sixth phase. On 1st June, the election ends. 4th is the result. Now, one will have to live with whatever result is coming, whether it is a manipulated election result or whatever. What do you expect in the coming days now that the case has been adjourned for after the vacation? We do not know which bench is going to take up. Maybe a larger bench will take up the matter. But what are the citizens of the country left with?
You see, it's very hard to ever predict the train of events that can happen. The question is that A, are the elections being stolen as apprehended by a lot of people? B, by how much is it being stolen? C, how do people react to it? Do they come out on the streets and protest and say, like, no, this is not how we voted? Because then you have the voting patterns determined all over the country. So all these are imponderables which lie in the belly of the future. We can't predict that. As of now, if people are really conscious, my recommendation is, and I will find time because today is a weekend, on Monday, to go to the the regional election commission and apply under section 93 to give me that data. See, we can also tell them it's the days of social media. So and I will ask them for the entire state. So my state has 27 seats. Let me see if I get the data. As you know, Assam and Goa have already put that data on on their website. So if other similar election commissions either put the data on their website or the active citizens, and there are a lot of people in that sector, go and ask for that data under 93 or the RTI Act. The RTI Act will take 1 month. This is immediate. Then there is some solution. So we can benchmark that, okay, this is what it is. So that is very difficult to predict. Then if there are, there have been protests in other countries when elections were stolen. I don't want to give the examples. A very recent neighborhood country, it did happen. So if that type of a thing happens, then maybe the courts will also take cognizance of it, that look, it's the people who are agitated. See, what they are trying to do is make it between election commission and the candidates. As a citizen, who are you? Who are you to ask? That approach is very wrong.
Absolutely.
So that approach has to go.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Arun Agrawal. It was wonderful to have you on the program, and wonderful to the viewers who are watching this interview. Subscribe to our channel, send us a feedback, and stay tuned to the Federal.
This summer, meet the magical mermaid at VGP Marine Kingdom from April 12th to May 31st.